Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Monday. I'm just going to do a short one today, or I'll try to make it as short as possible. Trump is here, and he's in Canada. He's in Kananaskis, Alberta, for the G7 summit, and he absolutely tore Carney a new one, standing right there in front of him. I mean, Trump does this thing where he brings you in, there's a bit of camaraderie, there's friendliness, but then he just goes for the jugular. He did that to the South African president by going, okay, let's be nice, let's be cordial, and then plays a videotape and lays it down for the world to see. He invites Zelensky. They talk openly, the world can see and make their own decision. And now to the Canadians, all you Canadians, some of you guys are my friends and some people in my family that voted for this Carney, and you voted for the annihilation of Canada. That's how I feel. That's not even how I feel. This is what economists are telling me. I interviewed an economist. That video is on my channel. I'm going to link it in the description. I'm going to talk to him again. This is no mistake why you're feeling the pain so bad economically, right? So before I go on, let's just watch a little bit of Trump just being Trump, doing his thing in Alberta. And, Carney, he's the dude you voted for. Not you, not anybody probably watching me. How do you think he fared? What is your assessment? This is very short. This is only 7 minutes. Let's let her rip.
We good to go? All right, thank you. Mr. President, welcome to Canada.
Thank you.
It's a great honor. Happy birthday. A few days short.
A little bit.
A few days short, but didn't have a chance to see you on the day. Happy birthday to the U.S. military as well, 250th, and this is the 50th birthday, if you will, of the G7. This marks the 50th birthday of the G7, and the G7 is nothing without U.S. leadership, and your personal leadership of the United States, many issues. Geopolitics, economic, technology, and working hand in hand with the United States, Canada and the United States, and the other G7 partners with your leadership. Very much looking forward to the meeting. I'm grateful to have you.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it, and we've developed a very good relationship, and we're going to be.
Just a word about the G7, if anybody's interested. If you're interested in a little history lesson. The G7, okay. Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and US make up the G7. They're meeting from the June 15th to the 17th. The G7 started in 1975, and it started in France, but it was the G6 at the time. And at the time, the French president didn't care much for Pierre Trudeau, and so they didn't want Canada in. And then I think it was President Ford later was like, come on, let Canada in. Come on, just put him in. It's going to be good. And so then it became the G7. One thing about all these countries in the G7, we are part of it, create 44% of the global GDP, yet we only represent 10% of the world population. And I found that very interesting. Now let's go on. Let's let Trump be Trump.
We're talking about trade and many other things. And we have a whole group of people, some traders and some other people. I see my top economy people. But we have a very talented group of people, and you do too. And I know they work together very well. I look forward to that. The G7 used to be the G8. Barack Obama and a person named Trudeau didn't want to have Russia in. And I would say that was a mistake, because I think you wouldn't have a war right now if you had Russia in. And you wouldn't have a war right now if Trump were president 4 years ago. But
boom! Somebody named Trudeau kicked Putin out. And this is a totally justified slam with all the Russia gate and the Russian collusion and all that nonsense. And knowing how tight Carney is with Trudeau, and that he's been the economic advisor to Trudeau for 5 years, and just laying in. And that's all when all the Russia gate nonsense and all the nonsense. Well, it's been going on for so long now, but all that nonsense happening, to stand there and just say, you wouldn't be in a war. Dumbass, if Russia was in the G8.
It didn't work out that way, but it used to be the G8, and now it's, I guess, what's that, 8 years ago, it switched over. They threw Russia out, which I claimed was a very big mistake, even though I wasn't in politics then. I was very loud about it. It was a mistake in that you spend so much time talking about Russia, and he's no longer at the table, so it makes life more complicated. But you wouldn't have had the war,
Fantastic. You wouldn't have had the war. People wouldn't have died. Look at this glinty-eyed lizard man. You should be looking, you should have a different expression on your face. You should have just a more sincere expression than this glinty-eyed lizard look you've got.
Other than that, I think we're going to accomplish a lot, and I expect to. And I think our primary focus will be trade and trade with Canada, and I'm sure we can work something out.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so much. Thank you very much.
Mr. President,
Say it.
what is holding up a deal with Canada from your perspective?
It's not so much holding up. I think we have different concepts. I have a tariff concept. Mark has a different concept, which is something that some people like. But
Not me.
We're going to see if we can get to the bottom of it today. I'm a tariff person. I've always been a tariff. It's simple, it's easy, it's precise, and it just goes very quickly. And I think Mark has a more complex idea, but also very good. So we're going to look at both, and we're going to see what we're going to come out with something. Hopefully,
Mr. President,
Do you think a deal is achievable within days, within weeks? Is there that kind of runway?
yeah, it's achievable. Both parties have to agree. Yeah, sure.
I can't say for sure. That sounded like Mercedes Stevenson from Global.
Mr. President,
have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict?
Yeah.
What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days, and on the 61st day, I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal. And it's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war. And they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
And what would you say, in your opinion, what would it take for the U.S. to get involved in this conflict militarily?
I don't want to talk about that. We'll
As
see.
you mentioned Putin, do you think that
I don't want to talk about that. Let's move on to Putin right away. Got you just jackhammering with the questions. I like Trump for so many things. If the Americans and if the world could figure out their Israel policy, life would be better. I mean, nobody wants this war. I think Trump is a very anti-war president. He wants to bring peace. He's not happy about this. I think he is bound by AIPAC and bound by this tie he has to Israel. So that needs to be figured out. I don't know if it's going to be. And I feel that Bibi is quite a warmonger, right? I mean, I am no expert on the Middle East at all, but my view of him now is he's not for peace, obviously.
he should have a seat at the G7 today, that it should be the G8?
I'm not saying he should at this point because too much water's gone over the dam, maybe. But it was a big mistake. Obama didn't want him. And the head of your country, the proud head of your country, didn't want him. This was a big mistake. You wouldn't have that.
Oh, gosh, sorry. It's a reaction video, so I got to stop it. The head of your country, whose name is not even worth saying, didn't want him. And I love the fact that he slams Obama too. Obama was a big warmonger also, but he never gets talked about that way. The liberals and the Democrats revere him as, the second coming of Jesus, for God's sake, but he's got a lot of bad things. I won't, I want to say the thing, you know what I want to say, but Obama ain't no saint.
That war. You have your enemy at the table. Even I don't even consider him. He wasn't really an enemy at that time. There was no concept. If I were president, this war would have never happened. But likewise, if he were a member of what was called the G8 at that time, it was always the G8, you wouldn't have a war right now.
Why not?
What intelligence support are you providing Israel?
We've always supported Israel. We have for a long period of time, strongly. And Israel's doing very well right now.
See? He's just is too tied to Israel. And I think there have been former presidents that have tried to break that tie that did not have good outcomes. You know, if you know what I'm saying.
Why not have China here, the biggest economy in the world after the United States?
Well, it's not a bad idea. I don't mind that. If somebody wants to suggest China coming in, I think we suggest. But you want to have people that you can talk to. You know, they don't talk. Putin speaks to me. He doesn't speak to anybody else. He doesn't want to talk because he was very insulted when he got thrown out of the G8, as I would be, as you would be, as anybody would be. He was very.
Carney, are you going to say something? You're going to stand there. People voted for you. The Canadians, the people that were persuaded by the media to vote for you because you were going to stand up. What are you doing? Every time you get together around Trump, you pretty much just sit there. He can insult your godson's mother. He can, which, trust me, I'm not, you know, in a way, I'm like, what I'm trying to point out is that he can be insulted. He can be badgered. If he loves Freeland, Carney loves Trudeau. They're all friends. He's not sitting there defending anything. And he was a guy that the Liberals voted to defend. And he just stands there and makes faces and goes like this. And does this type of thing. Aren't you going to say like, okay, just if I may interject. And he interjects with nothing. He just kind of sucks his face and makes faces and does nothing. Isn't he the guy that's supposed to stand up for all y'all? Stand up for us? He's not. I didn't vote for him.
Very insulted. And I mean, he was thrown out by Trudeau, who convinced one or two people, along with Obama. He was thrown out. And he's not
Carney.
a happy person about it. I can tell you that. He basically doesn't even speak to the people that threw him out. And I agree with him.
Did you see that little hand gesture? Carney looked at somebody, and I think he's trying to do a cut sign. He extended his hand just a little bit because he's like, let's wrap this up. Look at his face. He's looking at someone. Does somebody say, wrap this up, because he knows Trump will go on for a long time. Carney he was giving someone the rap signal. I saw it.
Uncommon dome, sir.
Go ahead.
Uncommon dome,
On
sir.
immigration, why are you ordering ICE to target Democratic inner cities? What's behind that?
I don't know what you're saying.
You did a post last night where you said you want ICE to really target Democratic.
Yeah, I want them to focus on the cities because the cities are where you really have what's called sanctuary cities, and that's where the people are. I look at New York. I look at Chicago. I mean, you got a really bad governor in Chicago and a bad mayor. But the governor's probably the worst in the country, Pritzker. But I look at how that city has been overrun by criminals. And, New York and LA, look at LA. LA, those people weren't from.
Hey, Carney, we're having the same problems here. He's making eye contact, dead set on somebody else. Their press person or somebody, their little team leader. He is desperately trying to get them to wrap it up. They've only been talking for 6.5 minutes. You cannot take 6.5 minutes. You need to change you're going to have to change your clothes.
LA, they weren't from California, most of those
Look at him.
people, many of
Look
those
at him.
people. And yeah, that's a focus.
You liberals voted for this man.
Biden allowed 21 million people to come into our country. Of that, vast numbers of those people were murderers, killers, people from gangs, people from jails. They emptied their jails out into the U.S. Most of those people are in the cities, all blue cities, all Democrat-run cities, and they think they're going to use them to vote. It's not going to happen.
Wrap this up. Because all the things that Trump just talked about are all the things that the liberals tried to bring to this country, to Canada. And I love the fact that Trump just says it right to his face, standing there in front of the press. And I wonder how this is going to be covered on the news. Is he going to look like such a hero today, Carney?
Thank you. If you don't mind, I'm going to exercise my role, if you will, as a G7 chair, since we have a few more minutes with the president and his team, and then we actually have to start the meeting.
Trump knows exactly what he did. He's gracious enough to say, okay, you can wrap this up. He's watching him very carefully. Trump knows what's going on. I know I sound like I'm just fangirling on Trump, but I love this because having someone so big with so much presence and being the president come and talk so openly like that, I just love it.
meeting to address some of these big issues. So,
Well, you can-
alors, merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Peace out.
Et puis,
Get me the hell out of here, basically, and then it ends after that. Shortest press conference you've ever seen. Yeah, that says a lot. He all of this is done on purpose. All of the things that Trump was talking about are the things that, like I said, Carney tries to bring in the country. Where's the Jolie? Where's the Guibault? Where's all the numbnuts, the Anita Anons, these people that are so devoid of any actual practical knowledge about how this country should be run, yet are still in power. It's just staggering. And a lot of people used to say, "Oh, Trump, you're so unpresidential." Who cares? I like it like that now. I think being presidential and talking in that kind of talk that is saying a lot of things but saying nothing at the same time, we don't like it anymore. And I think most people who have their heads screwed on straight don't have an appetite for it. And I certainly don't have an appetite for it. I've always been like that. I just say it as it is. Look where that got me fired from Global when I asked them to, in case you don't know, I used to work at Global and we didn't report properly about the world event. And that got me booted out on my ass, but I have no regrets about that. Okay, if you like my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Just click subscribe. That would be it's so great. If you like it, click the like button. If you already subscribed, turn on the post notifications so you know when I upload. Yeah. Thank you for watching that video today. I thought I'd share that with you. Hope you enjoyed it. Okay. All right. Take care.